Okay, so I've made the wheels, and in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do something called rendering. Now, when we render, what we do is, you see where it says model here? I'm going to change the workspace so it says render. Okay, and now already this beautiful black shiny, that's actually steel. Okay, yours may be grey, it could be anything, it all depends on what you set it up to. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the appearance, and the appearance icon is this icon here. It's a wheel with some colours in it, and that's all we're going to do. We're going to change the colours. Appearance, I'm just going to maximise that screen there, and this is wood, and it's actually an unfinished wood. There's solid wood, that's new. Let's go to normal wood, unfinished, and we'll have a look for pine. There's pine. Click that. Let me show you something. Click that and drag it over. Okay, and there's your pine. It's not too good yet, it's just pine wood, bit boring. We're going to change that in a minute. If you're choosing something like this with the little arrow, just means you've got to download it first. Okay, so all you need to do, click that arrow, and about 15 seconds later it will be there, and then you can drag it over. Now, in order for us to change how this wood looks, because I don't really like the look of this at the moment, what we do is here we double click it, and then we can change the scale, and now we've got the knots that make it look just like pine. We can even rotate it. That might make it look a bit better. The trouble is, it's not really doing a good job. It's changing the direction where I don't want it to. So I think I'm going to do it like that. You can go into advanced, and if you're really into it, you can actually add your own texture in advanced. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, done. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the wheels. Okay, I'm going to change the wheels. They were acrylic, so that would be a plastic. So let's go here. Just going to click that to close it, click that one to close it. Plastic. They are opaque, unless you had clear, then you go transparent. And my wheels were white. So there's plastic. Matte just means it's not going to be shiny. Let's have some shiny white. So 1, 2, 3, shift, 2 fingers on the mouse, 4. Okay, this is actually not rendered. This is just really coloured. So what we can do is, before we render it, we can change some of the angles. So let's say you want it to be more beastly. What you could do is you go to the scene settings, and you can add a background if you wanted. That's going to take a bit of resource on your computer, so make sure things like Spotify or CSGO are turned off. Otherwise you're going to waste your battery really quickly. We can flatten the ground, I can add reflections, I can change the focal length of the camera. Watch this. Watch how it zooms in. Okay, so now I'm really going, so now it almost looks a little bit faster. And that's fine, you can do that. Or you can just change it to a normal flat focal point. And then I can now render it. Now when we actually render, we can do it 2 ways. I can do in-canvas rendering, which is that one. And that's actually going to render it in the program. Okay, that takes a lot of power from your computer. Your computer's going to start getting very, very hot. The fans are going to start whirring, and it takes a long, long time. Okay, now I don't expect anyone to be able to do this yet, simply because you're on your MacBook Airs and they're not as powerful as your standard gaming computer with good 3D good 3D capabilities. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to move that slightly because I really want to see this reflection, and I'm going to click render here. Now this, all this will do will be, it will Autodesk will render it for you. Okay, so you have got to save it first, and you've got to make sure that when we save it, it's saving to the cloud. So what we're going to do is render that. I'm going to choose a nice high resolution. So there's final, and it's quite a large print, and I am then going to render it. Now it's going to take less than 40 minutes. 40 minutes is actually quite a long time, and that is because I put the reflections here. So to us, a reflection is just like a flat drawing, but actually to the computer it's not flat. This is double of that, underneath, slightly opaque. So anything that happens here will happen here. You can put a sun here and it will come down here. Now, as you can see down here at the bottom, it's already starting to render. And don't worry, it's not my computer that's rendering it, which means that I'm preserving a little bit of the battery life and processing power. Okay, and it's going to render them in 4 views. So actually 5 views. Hopefully I think the last view will be this view here. I'm still free to move it around because, like I said, my computer's not rendering it, the server is. I can now make I can think about other changes I would like to make. I can add a decal, which is adding a PNG sticker, as you can see with the picture of the plane there. If I can get a PNG which is transparent, I can drag it on to the CAD model or the Pinewood Derby, and it will follow the curves. Pretty good if you have got a design or you are intending to have a design, and this can be a photograph or a scan. The next thing I could think about is, well, maybe I wanted to put the holes or the nails in the wheels. Now, how would I do that? Well, first of all, I would click on the edge in model, and then I would go new sketch, draw a very small circle and push it into cut. That would make a hole in that body. Okay, and then I could even draw a nail and then copy and paste it 4 times, and then as a new body, and then put that in as well. And that would be quite nice. That would give it a bit of shine because that was made of metal. Remember the weights? I haven't even added the cylinder weights. Well, here, I just want to show you this one first. So double click that, and this should now be rendered, and I can print that off. And you can see it's a lot nicer detail. I don't have any of the black dots here. I've got shading, I've got shadow, I've got light sources. It's a little bit boring because I've only got 2 materials. So what I would do is I'd go back to model. I would add the weights. So create cylinders. Okay, cylinders. Where are you going to create them? Well, let's create them on the wrong place. So I'm going to create them on the plane. Let's just have a look at it so I know the size. So here, I think that was, yeah, it's not taking my dimensions. I think it was 8.5. So that's okay. Let's go home and drag it up. Okay, so there's my cylinder. Now, I need to move that around. So it's body 6. It's a good idea to actually rename these. Double click. So car, can't spell chassis. Car body. Double click. Wheel 1. Double click. Wheel 2. And it's good to get into that habit. Okay, body 6 is actually the weight. So right click it, move. You recognize this. That is going to spin it around. That is going to move it anywhere I want in space. A little bit difficult, that one sometimes. So I can move that on the flat there and move it around like that. Move it down a bit. That's okay. Can actually bury that inside. Have a look this side. Move that into the center. Zoom in if you want a bit more accuracy. Okay, and let's go home. Happy with that? Yeah, that's fine. And now, if I made that bright steel, you're going to see reflections here, from here, in there. And that, again, makes it look interesting. That is the weirdest car I've ever seen. I hope no one's looks like that. Okay, well that, I think, is enough for you to get started on your Pinewood Derby. It is only practice. We will go over it in class again. Okay, so the most important thing is enjoy the fusion and just try and get something drawn up. Okay, thanks.